hello, darling, and welcome to the Just Jax Podcast. Hi, I'm Jax, and I help you find the can in your cat. When we challenge our cats, miracles happen, because when I challenge mine of I can't draw, I can't paint, and I can't color, imagine my surprise when I discovered what I can do is create a 21-foot garden mural that was recently featured not once but twice on the front page of our local newspaper. Next up, I challenge the I'm no author, no artist, and no cursive writing specialist, but what I can do is self-publish 3 books for my kick-ass cursive writing curriculum, Crack the Cursive Code. I'm a jax of all trades, but what I master in is helping ordinary people like me to do extraordinary things through laughter, tears, life-changing stories, because metaphors are my jam. Together we can find the can in your can'ts, the do's in your don'ts, and the wills in your won'ts. I'm so excited for you. Let's go. My darlings, and welcome back to the Just Jax Podcast. This podcast drops episodes every Tuesday, and you can help support my podcast by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen now. I have the perfect way to beat winter boredom and support cursive skills at the same time. Let me show you my ultimate cursive puzzle book. And if you're looking on my video on YouTube, you can see this wonderful purple book. This book has 8 ways to play, 11 subjects to explore, and increasing levels of difficulty, making learning cursive my version of hiding vegetables in the spaghetti sauce. It's a fun way to keep your cursive skills active or to try your hand at it. The books are available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble online, and the PDF I'll show you also because I'm an OCD person. I put it in a binder and it's just fantastic. You can find my PDF and the books also at crackthecursivecode.com. So in typical Jack style, there is a trend that is happening with some of these elite business people that drop in every now and then on my TikTok feed. And they talk about having a word of the year. And this word is supposed to be a guiding light, the rudder to their ship type of thing to keep them on track for what they want to do for the goals of the year. I've seen different ones like breathe and trust, surrender. Fresh was a new one that was quite fresh. For me, I wanted to have a word that would remind me of what I'm working on currently, and everything always works out for me is the current mantra that I have been having on repeat lately. So my word, I wanted it to be something that would encompass this, and that word is Pronoia, Pronoia, which in fact is the opposite of paranoia. I had no idea that this word even existed. At my birthday last year, I realized that this is my last year in my 50s, and the visualization of who I was when I was 60 has really started to materialize within myself. And one of the things that I wanted to change was the garbage in, garbage out with what I am ingesting mentally. I love popular music. I like actually all kinds of music, and it's usually the beat that's what I listen to, and I have no idea what the lyrics are saying. So that could cause problems if you believe in subconscious programming or how music can impact you by listening to words, etc. So I've decided to change that and create a playlist. So I went on my faithful TikTok, and it started showing me different songs by different artists, and I had about 4 or 5 of them. And I started searching more songs by these artists and started building a playlist. And Spotify has this fantastic option where it will give you recommended tracks along with the artists that you're playing. And before you know it, I had this playlist that's over 2 hours long of all this positive music, and I call it vibration music. And one of those songs was this song called Pronoia by Carly Pearl. And she basically says, what happens if the world is conspiring in your favor? And I thought, I'd never heard of pronoia before. Paranoia? Well, that's a completely different thing. Yes, I've experienced it myself many times, as well as being around people who've experienced it. So, paranoia for sure, but pronoia? And I thought, is that something along the lines that it's all part of God's plan? Because was, I've almost throat punched people who have said that, and I have unfortunately been one to say that. But the idea that everything that the world conspires in your favor is another way of saying everything's always working out for me. Now, I've been exercising this positive thinking, flipping thing for quite a while. In fact, my first episode talks about a shit sandwich because a friend of mine refused to talk to me because she stated that I am such a positive thinker and look for the silver lining on everything, that if she had a sandwich that she absolutely adored and someone came and shit on it, that I'd somehow find the positive in it, which is true. Anyway, that being said, I really have been working on this positive thinking for a while, and it made me realize that it's been quite a while actually, because when I was doing hypnosis in 2019, one of the philosophies I was working on then was best case, worst case scenario, because it came to my understanding when I was learning about how the subconscious mind works and our mind really in general, that our body has a very hard time telling the difference between real and imaginary. So if we're worrying about the future and acting as if it's happening, our body goes through the same process regardless if it's real or not. So I wanted to give my body the best amount of support that I could by only having the energy at the time that something's happening. Now, there are some times when my mind does race and take over and etc., but most of the time I want to flip it somehow into a wisdom experience, that there's something in it for me and that it's going to make a great story. Because I have lots of magical stories happen about how miracles just happen and everything works out for me. There's a saying that I have from my son, and it's that he has a horseshoe up his ass, and that instead of just a horseshoe, he has a whole horse galloping up there. But he comes by it quite honestly, because I've believed for a long time that things are going to work out. And it started out, first of all, believing in the odds, that the odds were in my favor, and then it became a best case, worst case scenario. And then it was I'm the type of person where everything works out for me. I find that now that I'm in my own bedroom, I'm loving the time by myself, much to my husband's dismay, but I am loving the time to myself. And in the morning, and the first thing I do is I put the music on and I listen to this playlist, and I have a game that I play, and it's one that I love to just solve problems. And it's kind of like Candy Crush, I guess, if you've ever seen commercials about that. But what's really fascinating about this game is I've told myself and I believed that it was impossible to do these games, that I never had the strategy, that my mind never worked that way, that why would someone want to play a stupid game like that anyway? What a waste of time. What could it possibly do for them? And I just told myself that continuously. And then I figured that, you know what? I'm just going to try one, and there was one. It's called Lily's Garden. Who knows how popular it is, but it allows you to renovate things at the same time along with a story. And I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe I could get caught up in the story. And next thing you know, I've had like 10,000 levels, and that kind of gives you an idea how much time I've spent on it. But I have really built up some areas of my self-esteem, and I guess it could be quite sad or low in regards to how low my self-esteem really was, that a game on my phone could bring that up. But it helps me understand that who I am and what I'm capable of, and how I can bet on myself in a safe environment that impacts absolutely no one, because there's no money that I spend on this game. It's just pure entertainment and problem solving for me. This game has elevated it to one more level. So it started as the odds are in my favor. The second one was a best case, worst case scenario. Third one is that I'm the type of person that everything works out for me. And now the fourth one is on how, when something happens, I take the moment and I put as much emotion and joy. I love it when things work out for me. Like when I had this last move on my game this morning and I needed a power, what do you call that? A bomb or whatever you would need, some kind of power tool. And it landed right in the spot where it could give me what I needed. So last move, last piece, and job done, goal achieved. And it felt really good. And I sat there and went, I love it when things work out for me. And now, you may think that's great, Jax, but yesterday morning and this morning, I have no idea what's going on with our cats, but if you live with pets, you know that from time to time they just throw up for no apparent reason. Everything could be great and good, but they throw up. So I wanted to create an environment for myself that feels good. And when I walk into the kitchen in the morning to feed the cats, it's very dark and the lights are very bright, and I really would just like enough light to navigate the way I want to navigate through the kitchen. So I put up these LED motion sensor lights, and ooh, I love these things, and they're giving me exactly what I want. And as I was admiring the lights yesterday, I was walking around in the kitchen and doing everything, feeding the cats, making my tea. And as I got done everything, I looked down and there were two mounds of cat puke on the floor, and I navigated all the way around them. I never stepped in them, nothing. And if you know what it feels like to slip on that stuff or not know and walk all the way through the house with it, and oh my God, it was just disgusting, and it was a near miss. And this is a good example of when you have a near miss of anything. It can be super small where you're brushing your hair and it gets caught and lets go, but you don't hurt yourself, or anything that's really small. You at that moment, you think about how awesome it is, how the near miss is so awesome. And I love it when everything works out for me. So yesterday, despite the fact that yes, there could my cats are throwing up, and yes, there could be other reasons that could be serious that we need to look into. But at this moment, that's a future Jax problem. At this moment, before I have to bend down and clean the mess up, that it was the best case, worst case scenario. It was the best of that worst possible scenario that could be. And I'm going to rejoice and milk that for everything I can, because if situations like that happen, why would I want the worst case scenario and put my body through that experience? I want the best case scenario, which is what happened yesterday. Well, you know what happened this morning? I went and did the exact same thing, navigating, loving the lights, and found out that a different cat puked in a different spot. And I had navigated and walked around that too. And this one would have been worse, because this would attract everything into the living room. And I had come back and forth in this area, and it would have been just disgusting. And I missed that too. And now I have no idea why it's puke week. This last weekend, I had to go to a celebration of life of a dear coworker of mine that passed away before Christmas this last year. And it brought up a whole bunch of different things that kind of tie up this everything is working out for me, because she was part of an era where I was involved in patient care. And it was 8 years of this in this medical company that I work for, where they have hospitals as well as medical clinics, that I was in charge of helping out facilitate the admin portion of patient care on different levels. And I had left that last spring, and it was a very painful experience, because part of it was my wanting to go back to a job that I felt very secure and confident and competent at, and was refused to go there. And it was crippling for me. It was very painful, because I really thought that that management had my back. And then after I gave everything to another manager, the same type of thing happened, where it went to hell in a handbasket, and I had to leave there to come to the job that I have now. And this was the first time really having a public outing with these people that I used to be day in and day out in the trenches with. And some of them, we have been to war together, and you trauma bond over that experience. And that's maybe why work friends become some of your dearest friends, is over that bond. And that was the reason. This was one of those things for this woman. So it took me it brought me a bunch of different experiences that I wasn't expecting. Number one was to decide what to wear. And I know when you usually go to a celebration of life, there's always a deciding whether or not you want to dress in black, as in what is typically culturally the standard. But at the same time, this woman would have wanted me to be me. And you know what the number one thing is that really made me decide what to wear? It had nothing to do with self-expression. It had to do with my hair, because I basically have COVID hair in the moment, and I can't wait till April, because I'm going back up to Calgary to have Marnie, my one-armed stroke victim, amaze balls hairdresser, that decided to go back to doing hairdressing one-handed, and she's going to be coloring my hair back to its platinum and almost black type of style. And I wanted to give her as much of my natural pattern so she could match it as closely as possible. But my hair was the deciding factor of what to wear, because I really wanted to wear a hat, because that way I could cover up this huge landing strip of demarcation here. And then I decided, well, I wanted to wear something that I feel super comfortable in. And my hubby had gotten me a new pair of Doc Marten shoes for Christmas. And I thought, this is a great opportunity to match a hat with these shoes and wear something fun. So I wore that. But one of the biggest realizations when all of these people, when I were there, that they were telling me, number one, that they really missed me. I was a little concerned about working from home because of the social aspect, and also whether or not I could do it and be self-disciplined. The social aspect, every person that I have talked to that found out that I work from home is like, oh, well, Jax, like, how are you going to handle that? You know how you love to be around people, and that you're just such a social being. And I'm finding out that with my podcast, I tell about my stories that when I'm in public, people have already heard some of my stories if they listen to my podcast. And that has been a very interesting experience in its own, where they tell me they've already heard it. And then there's I'm really fulfilled at home, just being at home, working from home, being access to my computer, getting up and getting what I want to eat, the anonymity and the having no one on your back watching what you're doing. As long as I get my work done in a professional and excellent manner, there's no management on how I get it done. And when you are an ADD person like myself, or scattered in regards to my priority list and how my routine is very chaotic, this is the best thing for me. And when I first thought about working from home, I was worried about those two things and the discipline. So in grade 10, before we moved out to a small town outside of Calgary, I was all set up to go to a high school that was basically self directed. And I was very worried because I never had been that disciplined in anything really that I would be able to be in charge of my work. But I thought, if I could be in charge of how fast and how hard I could do things, then how much effort I put into things, then maybe I would be much more of a success. And as fate would have it, I got into a different environment that brought me in a completely different trajectory. And I never got to satisfy that ache of my 14, 15-year-old self and prove to her that I can actually do this and I can do this. And I absolutely love it because if I want the music playing loud or if I want a heater running or I get hungry or thirsty or have to go to the bathroom, anything happens, I can just do it and have the confidence that I know that I can get it done. So when people were asking me how I was, despite the fact that there's been tension in the past with my relationship, I'm in the best place that I've been in a very long time. I'm very content in my job. Things are looking up in my relationship in regards to how my husband and I are navigating all of that. And I'm on episode 43 of my podcast, so I only have 9 more to do to fill out my promise to myself. I'm able to talk about my cursive writing books now a little bit better. This is my year, and this is all because of the word pronoia. Actual definition of the word is destined as belief that the universe or people or higher power, God, is conspiring to do you good rather than harm. It's a mindset where one perceives serendipity, trust, and benevolence in the world, seeing seemingly negative events as part of a larger positive plan. And for me, I'm realizing that obstacles are a necessary thing because there was a Gwyneth Paltrow podcast that came up on my TikTok, and she was talking about how her dad told her to stop being such an asshole and that her life is based on the fact that she's had a lot less obstacles in her life, and that has made her very entitled. And we find that with parenting and with children and with even adults, their ability to handle obstacles is actually the biggest training tool we could give our children. Removing obstacles helps them very little. Helping them through the obstacles is the key, because I'm finding that some of the things that come up in my life and aspects of myself, the kickassery that I have within my goddess, warrior, just bitch, total bitch self came out of areas and times when I had conflict and obstacles. And I can be super creative, inventive, ingenious, in fact, when I have some type of restrictions or constrictions. And I believe that when she talks about in this song of hers, she says, you ever heard the word pronoia? It's the opposite of paranoia, the belief that the world conspires in your favor. Honey, it's a game changer. It's a cherry lifesaver. So sweet. I want to remind you that even if you could give yourself a couple seconds break for the entire stress that you have of the day, by allowing yourself to just take a moment, any near misses, any slight wins, and just do a little celebration dance of I love it when things work out for me. And more you will train your brain to find these little wins, these little cans in your can't, these ability to actually laugh at the shit that's happening so that you can turn that shit into fertilizer and have an awesome sauce day. You can catch all my forthwith, shift, and loser merchandise, as well as my kick-ass ultimate cursive writing adventure, Crack the Cursive Code, at my website. This is Jax out.